Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Salatu wassalam ala Rasulillah. Amma ba'd. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for protection from the evils of our souls and the evils of shaitan, and ask him to help us in answering these questions. In this session, it says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Shaykh, may Allah accept our ibadah on this blessed day of Arafah. Ameen. Question 1. Is it permissible to call your aunt maternal mom if she raised you from a baby? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ameen. The general rule is that it's permissible to call someone who's an elder, to call an uncle or an aunt paternal or maternal, to call someone who is respected and revered ummi. You call a sheikh al-walid, our father, our sheikh, from the aspect of respect and veneration, let alone if it's someone who raised you. Obviously knowing who is actually your blood-related mother or father. Wallahu alam. Question 2. Is birth control permissible? The answer is yes, as long as it's not harmful to the body. And obviously the word harmful is relative and subjective to person. But in general, it doesn't cause destruction to the body in the natural flow of things. And it's a need for it, or a maslaha rajiha, overwhelming benefit, then many of the people of knowledge of today say that it is permissible. Some of them say that it's haram regardless. Wallahu alam. Inshallah la ba's. Question number 3 says, is it permissible to speak Allah's name in the bathroom or on the toilet? It shouldn't be done. It should be avoided if possible. As far as is it haram, is it absolutely impermissible? We can't necessarily say that it's haram, but it should be something that shouldn't be done unless it's a necessity, mentioning Allah's name in the bathroom. As far as carrying a piece of paper or book or something that has Allah's name in it, or even a ring, it's not necessarily haram, but out of respect for Allah's name, then perhaps it's best. Wallahu alam. Next question says, question 4, can you give Sadaqa if you owe a debt? As long as it's a debt that's open, and the one whom you owe is not calling you and pressing you, but you have time to pay off the debt, a week, a month, a year, 5 years, 10 years, or whenever you get it, then it is permissible. Question 5, Assalamu alaikum Shaykh. With regards to a woman who wears Niqab, is it upon her to cover her eyes? If she has the ability to see, to walk up the steps, down the steps, or drive, and her eyes are covered, then that's best. Whereas a woman's eyes is also from her zina. Rather, it's well known, a woman's eyes could be one of the greatest parts of her zina and one of the most attractive features of her beauty and of her charm. So it's the best thing to do. As far as if it's a difficulty or hardship, or some sisters may say my eyelashes are long, it's difficult for me to see, it scares people too much, so on and so forth, la ba's, inshaAllah ta'ala, nothing wrong with that. Question 6. Also, I wanted to know, how do we make dua for our children? Do we have to blow the 3 coals over them when they sleep? Do we have to say, أُعِيذُكَ بِكَلِمَاتِ اللَّهِ التَّامَّةِ مِنْ كُلِّ شَيْطَانٍ وَهَمَّةٍ وَمِنْ كُلِّ عَيْنٍ لَامَّةٍ for morning and evening? It's optional. Several ways of doing it. You can recite the 3 coals, blowing in the hands. You can recite that prophetic narration there, the other supplications as well. You can even say it in English. May Allah protect you, or Allah protect my children. There's several ways of doing it. There is no one necessary, mandatory way of doing it. Wallahu alam. Next question says, question 7. Assalamu alaikum Shaykh. This question was asked last week by another sister. I, in parentheses, Layan, was just wondering if you could go into more details. Inshallah, jazakallahu khair. I want to ask a question, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. I would like to better understand Ruqyah. May you please explain the details of Ruqyah? When should it be used and how someone does it for themselves, who can perform Ruqyah on others, the benefits and importance of it, any additional haqq regarding jazakallahu khairan. In general, that question is in need of a lecture. If you want the specific details and the specific ins and outs, the benefits, who can, who cannot, then that needs a class, obviously, and that's unbefitting of a quick, simple, concise, short Q&A session. In general, Ruqyah bidhnillahi ta'ala, can be done upon oneself, as it's mentioned. It can be done for another Muslim, okay, another slave of Allah, with the Quran, with the authentic prophetic supplications, with the words which are clear and are understood in the Arabic language, or lightly spitting upon the one who's been recited or upon yourself, for sihr, for ayn, for hasad, for jinn, and different things like this. And the one who's making the ruqyah upon another person should be someone who's knowledgeable, pious, and has a good aqidah. That's in brief. Question 8. Assalamu alaikum. What is the ruling on drawing on one's eyebrows due to the fact that the eyebrows are thin? There's no plucking involved. It's just so she looks normal. Barakallahu fikum. If it's something that's very unsightly, then perhaps with the night ta'ala, there's nothing wrong with it, inshallah ta'ala, if it's done for the husband, inshallah. Question 9. I don't take pictures to be on the safe side. However, sometimes when visiting family, I do ask to be in a photo. Should I also refrain from being in photos? Does this also fall in the category, how should one act in a situation? If you feel uncomfortable with it, then avoid it. If you're not sure, or you don't feel it's haram, but I just want to be on the safe side, I want to avoid the difference of opinion of the ulama and of the modern day fuqaha, then that's fine. And that's the safest thing and the best thing for you to do. And you should avoid it, whoever it is, for yourself, selfies, family members, anyone, Muslim, non-Muslim, and you just tell them just like that. As far as if you're not sure, and if you don't feel that it's haram, but you don't normally do it, and you do it to avoid collision or clashing with your non-Muslim relatives, or, people that automatically already look like you as a stranger and extremist, then that's one thing. Seek Allah's help, bidnillah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Look after your soul first and foremost before making anyone else happy and pleased. Number 10. May Allah bless and reward you, Sheikh. My 16-year-old son was introduced by an associate of his to porn last year. Since then, we have done everything from completely restrict his internet access to punishing him, to explaining to him the haram and what he is doing. He also had listened to your talk about sex education. He said he would stop, but I recently found illicit pics on his phone. He is generally a good young man outside of this issue. We have offered him the opportunity to marry, and we would still take care of him till he completes school and gets on his feet. But he has stated that he is not ready for marriage. We live overseas, and he is homeschooled, so his choices for extracurricular activities is limited. He is in tahfidh at the local masjid and in a martial arts class once a week. Besides constant dua, are we doing everything we can? What do you advise with us? I mean to your dua. May Allah bless you as well. Continue to make dua for him. Try to keep him involved in extracurricular activities. The best to your ability, the more the better, inshallah. Not over pressuring him, putting too many things on his plate, but trying to keep him busy with something that which is beneficial and fruitful, and trying to minimize and limit his idle time. Pay close attention to his company, who his friends are, who his friends aren't. He should have good friends. Get good friends for him if you can. Try to take away bad friends from him if you can. Try to explain to him the importance of purity of the mind, of the soul, of the eyes, of the heart, and how dirty and how filthy pornography is, and how it will destroy you, destroy your life, destroy everything that you have of positivity and good. Not just in a religion as a Muslim, but it will destroy your life as a human being. The kuffar who watch it, it destroys their lives and ruins their minds and poisons their ability to think with common sense. And they become animals when they become addicted and they can't stop. Explain this to him, that it's not just a Muslim Islam thing. Is that's first and foremost, of course, Allah's good pleasure and Allah's hatred and his wrath. But you can't do nothing beneficial, son, if you look at this stuff. And that is why in the American cliche or the American culture, someone who masturbates, you call him a jerk off. And then for short it says he's a jerk. In other words, he's unsuccessful. He's a failure. He's a loser. He can't be a good athlete. He can't be a good business person. He can't be someone who's smart and intelligent. He can't be a ladies' man. He can't keep a relationship, can't keep a job. He's a jerk off, someone that's just always messed up. So just explain to him the reality of pornography and what it will end up and what it will lead to. As a Muslim and as just a normal person, no matter what you want to do in life, son, you can't do it successfully by watching this stuff and being addicted to this stuff. And that you become desensitized. It starts off as one picture, it starts off as one video, it starts off as one small habit, and next you know you become totally fully blown in addiction, and you can't stop and you can't help yourself, and you become worse and worse, and you start watching hardcore stuff until you may fall into all types of bestiality, homosexuality, and the list goes on. Explain that to him. Try to get him professional help if you can, professional counseling if you can. Okay, don't overpressure him, but try your best and explain to him the concept of marriage. You can get married. Doesn't mean that you have to, do everything. Doesn't mean that you can't have fun. Doesn't mean that you can't, take your time. But at the same time, you can express your sexuality and your sexual desires in a permissible way that's pleasing to Allah ar-Rahman subhanahu wa ta'ala. Trying to get him to find a replacement for that. And get into his mind, what made you look at porn in the first place, son? Were you bored? Was because you like girls? You're frustrated? Did someone molest you? Did someone do something to you when you were younger? You have to find out the reason, the core. And this is one of the greatest duties and jobs of, for example, let's say a psychologist or a shrink, is they listen to the patient or the client. They let them vent. They let them talk. They lend their warm ears. But they also get to the root of the problem. What made you start drinking? What made you do this and do that? And then they have to find the core of the pain, the core, the reason, the cause, and then let them vent and express, and then replace that hurt, that pain, that anger, whatever the case may be, with something else of positivity. It's like a tooth. You have to go to the cavity. They have to dig out the cavity and take out the infection or the wound, and then clean it, wash it out thoroughly, stitch it up, sew it up, fill the tooth, and let it grow back in. That's my advice with regards to this situation. May Allah help and protect all of the Muslim youth from that terrible scourge or scourge. Question number 11 says, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. An unmarried sister has the means to make Hajj but doesn't have a mahram to accompany her. Can she go in a Hajj group, or is it obligation of Hajj lifted from her at the time? She should wait until she has a mahram, as the Prophet ﷺ instructed her not to travel unless there's a mahram, as the people of knowledge say. As far as her traveling with a group of trustworthy sisters, or traveling with a group of men and women, brothers and sisters in a Hajj group, okay, or Saudi Arabia may allow her if she's older than 40 or whatever the case may be, the best thing for her to do is to stick with the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ and not to travel unless she has a mahram. And many of the ulama say it's not mandatory for her to make Hajj unless she has a mahram. Question 12. Since the Eid falls on a Friday, are the men still obligated to attend Jum'ah? Is the Imam still obligated to give the Jum'ah khutbah? As is related in the authentic Sunnah of the Messenger of Allah ﷺ, it's optional. If you want to go and attend, you can. If you don't want to attend, you don't have to. That's with regards to those who are attending. As far as the Imam who has to give the khutbah, then the Messenger of Allah ﷺ clearly said that we were going to make the Jum'ah. Those who come can come, who want to come can come, and those who want to stay can stay, but we're going to do it. So that's the sunnah. That is the sunnah. Wallahu alam, the khutbah should be given by the imam. It should not be left off. Whereas Jum'ah is, even if those people don't want to come back and do the second khutbah, it's something which is, the general rule is fard. Jum'ah has to be done. Wallahu alam. Question 13. Did the Messenger of Allah say a specific dua on Yawm al-Arafah? It brought on hadith in the Jami' of Tirmidhi, on which the ulama of Islam differ on its authenticity. Some say its isnad is weak. The Prophet ﷺ is supposedly quoted to have said, he says, khayru dua yawm Arafah. Says the best dua is the dua that is made on the day of Arafah. Wa khayru ma qultu ana wa nabiyyuna min qabli. He says, and the best thing that I can possibly say, and that was the Prophet said before me, to the end of the dua, La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah, okay, to the end of the supplication. Many of the ulama consider that hadith to be weak. What's important is, the ulama they say, is that you make dua with that which is khair, that which is good. You make dua asking Allah for forgiveness, for help, for mercy. It's a tremendous day, a day to be taken advantage of. to its fullest. Wallahu alam. That's in brief. Next question says, or the last question, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Sheikh, may Allah preserve you. We're looking for a Bengali brother for my sister that is practicing. Do you know any that wants to get married? We live in Michigan. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I mean to your dua, you as well. I don't know of anyone right now at the time. Perhaps we can look into it for you. May Allah Azza wa Jal give the sister a righteous husband that will help her in this life and in the next. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surely knows best. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.